So I just wanted to do a video today on how you can convince your friends to go vegan. Now every day I have people telling me, where do you get your protein? Where do you get your calcium? How do you feel full just eating fruits and veggies? And I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it when I first went vegan, how many people commented on my life and told me, you should change your lifestyle and your habits to suit what society tells us to do. And they're so brainwashed and they're so entrapped by the whole eating meat thing that they feel like they need to go out and tell me how to live my life. This made me defensive. It made me bitter. And it made me closed off. And when people would ask me these things, I would get really mad. I would snap back. Well, how do you get your calcium? How do you get your protein? You know that most meat eaters are also protein deficient. A lot of meat eaters are B12 deficient. Your diet's not even any better than mine. You're making yourself sick. You're eating all sorts of animal products and it's making you're going to get so sick and you're going to die. You're going to get cancer. You know how many cows get raped? I was like that. That's my face like a couple seconds ago. That was me talking to people maybe 3 years ago when I first started on my vegan journey. And it's not nice. It's not something that makes people want to look at this lifestyle seriously. It makes people, they might get a couple points. If they're logically minded, they might actually go look into what you said, and you might transmit some information to them, but the whole emotional baggage that goes along with that information is not going to help anybody. And you can apply that to any facet of your life. It's not going to work. Now I have a few bullet points here I wanted to share. How to convince your friends to go vegan. So first off, you shouldn't lead by force. You should lead by example. You shouldn't try to force people into a box. You shouldn't try to control what people do, control people's habits, especially if they're your friends or your family, telling them, being like a Gestapo on their life. You shouldn't eat this food. You shouldn't eat that food. That's gross. That's nasty. You should say, well, I'm going to be doing this, and these are the reasons why. If they ask you, a lot of times they'll ask you, why are you doing that? Because they realize that it's asynchronous. It's different to what they're doing in their life. And when they do ask these questions, it's important that you answer these questions in an open way, in a way that's not like snappy. You want to answer these questions in a way that are inviting. So, well, the reason I do this is because the reason I am a vegan is because I care about the environment. I care about the planet. I care about the animals. And I noticed that I wasn't healthy when I was doing this. I noticed that I was starting to gain weight. I was starting to question like the ethics around what I was doing. Where these animals they were getting hurt, and I felt like I was doing a disservice to and causing pain to other living beings. I felt like the environment was just getting destroyed by what I was doing, and I had studied these things in school, and you can add the different facts relating to the different subjects, but the point is you say I, the reason I do this, the reason I do this. You don't say you should. You should is a attack word. It's a word that says I know better than you do. When you say, I did this, I did that, the reasons I did this, it's not insinuating anything on other people's life. You might be insinuating by hoping that they take your example to heart, but if they don't, that's their decision. You can say, well, I am not going to be a force in somebody's life that makes them feel defensive and makes them crawl into their shell. I'm going to be somebody who leads by example. You could totally do this, but that is not going to guarantee that other people don't try to use force in your life. And how do you deal with this force? I like how Gandhi dealt with it, by protesting peacefully, by nonviolent protest, nonviolent communication, by telling people, talking about feelings, talking about your talking about the layer that sits on top of a human being's existence, their emotions and their feelings. If you talk about these feelings, then you can communicate something that's so much greater to somebody, because you're not entering into their shell. You are simply talking about the chemical reactions that are created from the philosophical beliefs and the moral stands that they are taking. So if you say something like, well, I see that, so if they say to you, oh, where do you get your protein from? You can say something like, I see that you are a little bit disturbed by the sound of your voice, that I choose to live a vegan lifestyle. I feel like you are maybe a little bit mad that I choose to live my life this way. I wonder why you feel that way. What is it that about my lifestyle that makes you feel that that makes you feel threatened? Do you feel threatened? Is that what you feel? No, I don't feel threatened. I just want to know why. Where do you get your protein from? That's all I want to know. So, they might change the tone of voice. I just want to know where you get your protein. I wasn't threatened. I wasn't mad. I would say, well, beans, legumes, leafy greens, tofu. A lot of these foods, these plant-based foods, have the same amount of protein. And it becomes a thing that once you talk about emotions, it becomes, you diffuse them. You take all the chemicals and you throw them out, and it becomes a logical situation, because people don't want to have conversations about feelings. But a lot of times, the feelings are the things that are driving them to make their allegations. So if you can talk in a nonviolent way, if you can not try and make assumptions and judgments on people's life directly, and focus on diffusing the emotions behind the decisions that they make, then you can convince your friends to go vegan. I feel that's a better way to do it. So anyway, that's just me blabbering on. I want to make a video a day, and I want to start talking more about helping people make this transition, because I feel like I am 100% vegan. I'm going to be like this for the rest of my life. It's been 3 years, and I want to share my journey with people. So please subscribe and let me know if you have any questions, and I'm going to try to answer them in the comments. And go look at some of my other videos out there. I'm going to try and make some more in-depth videos about some of these vegan topics and some of the most asked questions that are out there. So stay tuned. Thank you for watching Pledge Vegan.